My mother-in-law destroyed my marriage. The night my marriage ended, I stood outside my home in Manchester with a suitcase in one hand and tears running down my face. Rain soaked my clothes. My husband, Luca Romano, stood in the doorway. Behind him stood his mother, Isabella Romano. She looked directly into my eyes and smiled. Then Luca quietly said, "I think it's best if you leave." I couldn't move. 3 years earlier. My name is Sophia Moretti. I met Luca at a small bookstore in Manchester. He was kind, respectful, and made me laugh when I needed it most. Our relationship grew quickly. A year later, he proposed beside the River Irwell. I believed I had found the love of my life. Our wedding was beautiful. Family surrounded us. Friends celebrated with us. When Isabella hugged me after the ceremony, she whispered, "Welcome to our family." At the time, I believed she meant it. I couldn't have been more wrong. The first few weeks of marriage felt perfect. Then Isabella began appearing at our house without calling. She walked inside as though it were her own home. She reorganized the kitchen. She criticized the furniture. She replaced decorations I had chosen. Whenever I objected, she smiled sweetly. "I'm only helping." Luca never saw anything wrong. "She's just trying to make life easier." I tried to ignore it. Then Isabella began calling Luca several times every day. If we planned dinner, she suddenly felt lonely. If we planned a weekend away, she suddenly became ill. Every special moment between us somehow ended with Luca rushing to his mother's house. One weekend, we planned a romantic trip to York. The train tickets were booked. The hotel was paid for. An hour before leaving, Isabella called crying. She claimed she had collapsed. We rushed there. She answered the door dressed perfectly, drinking tea. "Oh, I already feel much better." The trip was canceled. I remained silent. Months passed. Her comments became sharper, always polite, always impossible to prove. She complimented me, then quietly insulted me. She praised my career, then suggested I cared more about work than family. She admired my cooking, then reminded Luca how much better his mother's recipes tasted. Each sentence sounded innocent. Each sentence planted doubt. Slowly, Luca began repeating her opinions. I felt myself disappearing inside my own marriage. Then everything changed. I became pregnant. For the first time in months, Luca and I were truly happy again. We painted the nursery together. We laughed. We dreamed about our future daughter. When Isabella learned about the pregnancy, her smile disappeared for only a second. It was enough. She visited constantly. She questioned every decision. She criticized every purchase. She insisted the baby should spend weekends with her after birth. She even suggested decorating the nursery her way. One afternoon, she visited while Luca was working. She walked into the nursery. Her expression hardened. "You've replaced me." I stared at her. "What are you talking about? Luca doesn't need me anymore. He has a wife now, and soon a child." She stepped closer. "You stole my son." I tried ending the conversation. She grabbed my arm. I pulled away. My foot slipped. I crashed onto the floor. Pain shot through my body. Hours later, I lay in a hospital bed praying for my baby. Thankfully, our daughter survived. When Luca arrived, I told him exactly what happened. Before he could answer, Isabella entered the room crying. She claimed she had tried to save me. She claimed I had slipped by myself. Luca looked confused. He didn't know whom to believe. That silence hurt more than the fall. 2 months later, our daughter, Julia, was born. Holding her changed everything. She became my entire world. For several weeks, peace returned. Then strange things began happening. Baby clothes disappeared. Important documents vanished. House keys went missing. Every time Isabella visited, Something disappeared afterward. When I became upset, she gently smiled. New mothers forget things. Soon, Luca began saying the same words. Maybe I really was exhausted. Maybe I was imagining things. That was exactly what Isabella wanted. One afternoon, I returned home from the pharmacy. Julia's crib was empty. My heart stopped. I searched every room. Nothing. I called Luca. He calmly answered. Mom took her. I couldn't breathe. She said you agreed. I never agreed. I drove straight to Isabella's house. She opened the door holding my daughter, completely relaxed. You worry too much. I demanded my baby back. She refused. Minutes later, Luca arrived. Instead of asking why his mother had taken our daughter, he asked me to calm down. That night, I couldn't sleep. For the first time, I wondered whether my marriage could survive. The following morning, Isabella apologized. She cried, she hugged me, she spoke softly. As she embraced me, she whispered into my ear, "You'll never win." Nobody else heard it. Only me. At that moment, I made a decision. I began secretly recording every conversation with her. Days later, she visited again. While Luca worked upstairs, Isabella smiled at me. You think marriage changed anything? She laughed quietly. Luca has always belonged to me. I recorded every word. Weeks later, the biggest disaster arrived. Luca came home holding printed screenshots, messages, romantic conversations, between me and another man. I had never seen them before. They're fake. Luca looked heartbroken. Mom found them. Of course she had. He believed the papers, not me. That night, he asked me to leave. The same night from the beginning of this story. I packed one suitcase. I took Julia. I left. My younger sister, Chiara Moretti, welcomed us into her apartment. She worked in digital marketing. After looking at the screenshots for only a few minutes, she frowned. These aren't real. The images had been edited. The dates were inconsistent. The formatting was wrong. Someone had created them. We hired a digital forensic specialist. Within one day, the truth appeared. The fake messages had been created on Isabella's laptop, but that wasn't enough. Then I listened again to my recordings. Every threat, every manipulation, every confession, everything was there. I sent every file to Luca, nothing else. Hours passed, no reply. Late that evening, someone knocked on Chiara's door. Luca stood outside. He looked broken. Behind him was Isabella. For the first time, she wasn't smiling. Luca turned toward his mother. Tell the truth. She remained silent. He played the recording. Her own voice filled the room. You'll never win. You stole my son. When she breaks, everyone will believe me. The silence afterward lasted forever. Luca stepped away from his mother. I believed you over my wife. Tears filled his eyes. I destroyed my own family. Isabella tried defending herself. Nobody listened. She walked away alone. For the first time, she had nobody left to control. The months that followed were difficult. Trust could not be repaired overnight. Luca attended therapy. He accepted responsibility. He changed every lock. He cut contact with Isabella. He spent every day proving his actions had changed, not with promises, with consistency. 1 year later, Julia laughed as she ran through Heaton Park chasing pigeons. Luca stood beside me, quietly, patiently. I know I don't deserve another chance. He looked at our daughter, but I'll spend the rest of my life earning it. I watched Julia smile. I remembered every lie, every tear, every sleepless night. Then I slowly reached for Luca's hand. Not because I had forgotten, but because rebuilding requires truth. And truth had finally won. Some people destroy marriages with anger. Others destroy them with manipulation. The most dangerous enemy isn't always outside the family. Sometimes, they smile in every family photograph.